Welcome to Withdraw Consent. My name is Victor, and this is Jack. So today we're going to talk about censorship and some of its effects.
Yeah. Okay, so basically we did Operation Mockingbird, we did Smith-Munson Telecommunication Act, and now we're just going to show you how terrible the government is and how wide-ranging the effects are of their censorship.
Okay.
Right? And so we're not talking about like unsolicited, partisan, private, corporate censorship.
Okay.
You have your own company. You're censoring people because you love trans people, hate abortion, whatever your thing is.
Yeah.
That's on you. Now, if the government asks you to do that, I got a problem with it.
Sure.
Right? And so I'm just going to go back to some common stories that you know, and I'm going to put some links below. This is just so great. This is the most beautiful thing. We're going to talk real quick about Hunter Biden's laptop, okay? So now back when this whole thing was going on, I was kind of keeping track of like this and the Twitter files, which we're going to talk about next. And on the website, I was building articles on it, right? In a series, you know? And so get this. One of my references I used on the website, which is not up, but yeah, you know, but the New York Times admits authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay?
Okay.
That's the article that I used as a reference in my article. And whenever we create a reference on the website, we
Take a screenshot of it.
take a screenshot, go full page, right?
Yep.
So you click on the link below for this one and you'll get the following screen. This page no longer exists.
Nice.
I'll put the next thing up is just a clip I took from the screenshot. So if you want to read the whole article, you can hit me up in the email and I'll send you literally the file, you know?
The full picture.
The full picture, and you can zoom in on it and read the thing. But I couldn't put the full thing on there. It would just be one vertical column. It would be stupid. But anyways, so the story is the New York Times admits authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop, and that has been censored.
Okay.
Do you see the beauty in this?
It's wonderful.
On an episode about censorship.
Right.
My reference has been censored.
Yeah.
Love this, right? So the deal with Hunter Biden's laptop was that, you know, the Washington Post or whatever put out the article. They censored him from Twitter before Elon Musk, Facebook, et cetera, and then 7% of Democrats said they wouldn't have voted for Joe Biden if they had known about that. So it just changed the entire election.
Sure.
So that happened. And it was the government who told Twitter and Facebook too, which is the problem. And we didn't find that out until the Twitter files. And so I'm going to put some articles below. The first one's called New Documents Prove DHS Involvement in Facebook and Twitter Censorship. And then the next one is great because the next one on the Twitter files, so this is the third reference below. FBI responds to Twitter files disclosures, says it didn't request any action on specific tweets. Remember, they were releasing the Twitter files the next day, and this was a trap that they had set, right?
Yeah.
Because then the very next day, they let out the next Twitter file that proves that they told them to take specific action.
Awesome.
You know?
Yeah.
And so then, I don't know if you remember the story, but I put a link below, and it's Elon Musk fires Twitter lawyer Jim Baker. Do you remember this?
I don't remember that specific
Yeah,
name.
Jim Baker, he was a former like FBI guy who now worked in the legal department there.
Nice.
And he was involved in censoring the Hunter Biden laptop and the Russia probe stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
So he's in there as an ex-FBI agent censoring, apparently on his own, you know? And then Elon found out about it and ditched him, you know? But like, it's just insane. They had a backdoor into Twitter. And they would just call them up and tell them specific actions, what they want them to censor.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is incredibly unconstitutional, right?
Like, were there threats? Or was it just Twitter's like, oh, yeah, we'll do whatever you want? Or did they, if you don't do this, then...
No, it was just voluntary cooperation.
Amazing.
Because they just had dedicated people that they talked to on both sides. And they just had this line and they would say, oh, yeah, boss, got it.
So it was company policy to do whatever FBI wanted.
Right.
Amazing.
It's absolutely amazing.
Traitors.
And it's funny because if Elon Musk hadn't, this is another thing. We were talking about in a recent video about how he bought Twitter to but give more free speech. But the Twitter files was another really big bonus of him doing that.
Sure.
Because if, you know, we should have mentioned this in the villain episode about him.
Oh, it's true.
Because this is a really good thing that he did.
Yeah.
Because if he was a scumbag, he'd be like, oh, the government, you know what I mean? Or even continue doing it and saying it was more free speech. But you could tell he's showing principles here. And then I'm going to take you back, while we're doing censorship stuff, I'm going to take you back to the Joe Rogan interview where Mark Zuckerberg was on it. Okay. You know? And so he tells Joe Rogan that Facebook algorithmically censored the Hunter Biden laptop story for 7 days based on a general request from the FBI to restrict election misinformation. right?
Yeah.
And on the Hunter Biden laptop story, Zuckerberg said that the distribution was decreased. So I think it got like 470,000 views total, like allowed, and then people would share it and it wouldn't share. So they censored stuff that changed the results of the election, right? Then when the election was stolen, they censored the fact that it was stolen and the different facts related to it being stolen. Like, do you think this is pretty terrible?
That's awful.
I mean, we're like, oh, those Chinese and their social credit score. I'm not asking for a social credit score either, though.
Right.
But they're just mocking us.
Right.
You know, they're like, so my face gets scanned so that I don't litter. Or good, we have a country without litter. That's what they're thinking, as our whole elections are fake.
Right.
You know? And the government's it's insane. So another thing in regard to censorship is, I believe, whistleblower convictions.
Okay.
Because whistleblowing is protected by whistleblower laws. And like Obama was famous for, for convicting whistleblowers. Trump didn't pardon Snowden.
Yep.
We have a Julian Assange episode, and it depends on whether or not he aided in the hacking.
Right.
If he did, then that's actually a crime. If he just received it as a, but so I'm not saying the right or the left is good at this.
Right. Yeah. It's just all bad.
Yeah. So that's why I was trying to bring up Trump and Obama. And so, like, in a good country, you want people to whistleblow. You just want everybody to whistleblow. Yeah. And you want to, mandatory, if a whistleblower reveals you're doing something illegal at your company, you have to put, a 15-foot statue of him in front of your company headquarters. You have to,
All right.
I'm joking about that. But I'm saying it.
But it should be encouraged for bad behavior. I mean, it keeps people in line and, yeah.
Right. Like the Boeing whistleblower, right? Did you follow that story?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because all the Boeings are just falling apart.
Okay.
And then they did an undercover video inside the Boeing plant, and they were asking people, would you fly on a Boeing? And, are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? And they're using a key card as a tool to try to get something done. And then one guy's like, yeah, I would. I really have a death wish, though. I'm really wild. Okay. So, you know what I mean?
This is honest.
And so there's a whistleblower, and he's been whistleblowing for years. And then he had, a deposition, and he went one day, and he was in really good spirits. And then he went in the car and ended himself that night. Didn't want to depose next day.
I wonder
this is where his whole life was headed.
Yeah. I'm sure that was just out of the blue.
Yeah. But a good government a good system would want to protect that guy, want to get to the truth, because we don't want Americans to crash. We want foreign countries to have faith in Boeing so that they'll buy our American-made airplanes. It's insanity.
Yes, I totally agree. It's almost like the corporations run things.
It's almost like that. So true. And so anyways, yeah, censorship. We can go into COVID. I'm not going to really.
Yeah.
We kind of know the story. I just want to remind you some things that I'd kind of forgotten about that I've already researched.
For sure.
And so because of the last episode where they did the Telecommunications Act and put everything into 6, major media companies, it just makes it so much easier for them to do stuff like that.
Right.
So if they want to, what does Facebook owns? That they own Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to get to those two, it'd be better if they had separate owners.
Right.
Right. Because now if the government wants to get to them too, it's harder, But if Facebook also owned Snapchat, Twitter, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then you only got to get through one door to get your back door.
Right.
Well, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Right.
Right.
So you got any examples you want to bring up, or what do you think?
No, yeah. I mean, COVID is a great one. I was trying to work out in my head all the lies that we get told, and it's kind of a form of censorship. Kind of, because you're hiding the truth, about wars and stuff. I don't know if that's stretching it too far. Yeah,
I'm not sure, because there was a movie I watched. It was pretty good. I can't remember the name of it. I'll Google it and see if I can find the name of it and put it up on the screen. But it was about the only reporters who got it right on the WMDs.
Oh, okay.
They were kind of independent, and they were onto it, and they were like, oh no, they made a movie about them. It was a pretty good movie. And see, what I want to know is when the system found out that they knew and that they were going to publish, because you're calling senators and stuff, so people are going to know.
Yeah.
Did they get censored?
Yeah.
Because a good system wants you to have the availability of the truth. If 99% of people are saying idiotic wrong things, you got to let the 1% talk, because just suppressing that 1%, and all of a sudden,
sure,
you've got unanimity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what I just thought of a great form of censorship. climate change. You know how they say 97% of scientists, 93%
Yes.
of scientists. But what they're doing is you have to go with the party line or you can't get funding for the
Correct.
grants.
Yes.
So the funding for the grants is used for censorship. So you won't tell actual science where there's a hypothesis and it gets to a conclusion. You can't do that. You have to tell narrative.
No, you just have the conclusion and you have to invent the hypothesis to support that. So it's like a backwards.
This is kind of like you were talking about where they tell you lies because they're being paid to not tell you the truth about science and to tell you a lie.
Right.
And so then that is censorship in a way because the government's doing it, you know?
How about Europe? You can't say anything about the Holocaust. I mean, it's not U.S. censorship, but that's still, you're censoring people saying certain things.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where you could go.
Right.
I can't remember who I was watching, but it was somebody and they were not a Holocaust denier. And then they just started defending Holocaust deniers, you know?
Oh.
And then they were like, you know, I believe in their right to say it. Because if you lose that right,
100%.
great point. It's a great point. It's
totally
controversial too. Edgy, you know, because you think Holocaust deniers. What the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, what do you think? I mean, I didn't do everything on censorship, but I think it's a good look at like just changing whole elections.
Totally.
You know, and what's going to happen for 2024? You know, they went and retroactively gave Tim Pool 2 strikes, or basically probably a warning and a strike or something like that, you know? Or they took down his videos. I don't know exactly what the punishment was, but for really old videos and his 2 biggest videos, like Alex Jones was on one. I forget who was on the other one. And he's like, oh, it's election time, baby. That's what he said.
Oh, okay.
So he just automatically knows that there's going to be increased censorship as 2024 approaches.
It's just amazing that they do that, but yet they're still going to do funky things with fake votes and all that. Like you don't need to do both. You either need to convince the people through censorship, or you just fake everything. You know what I mean? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of 2016. Maybe because 2016 wasn't supposed to go that way, right?
Okay.
And then now they're like, we're doing both.
Oh,
Double sure.
Make sure.
We need massive spikes at 2 a.m., right?
Yeah.
And we need full censorship lockdown on the country.
Right. Just everything possible to get the numbers to eke out correctly.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the United States government, the system, the entire system made up of all the agencies and everything is absolute trash.
Yes.
And I'm going to encourage you, you're going to see a future video about this where I'm going to say I'm going to do this, but I'm going to encourage you to have a loss of trust.
Right.
And any system that would censor you and every part of it that censors you, have a loss of trust in that.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
The end of Media Week.
Excellent. Are there any big examples of censorship that we forgot? Love to see those down below. Or maybe you don't even agree with what we're saying. Maybe you think censorship is great. Let us know.
Well, if that's the case, I do agree that censorship is great. If we just want to throw it out there, because we've covered this in another episode. Okay. And when it comes to CP, child, yes. Adult stuff, you know, yeah, so I'm not fundamentally against censorship.
Okay, right. We're talking about the government trying to hide things, as opposed to we're for
right.
not saying things at a morality level,
right?
But not hiding things that are going on,
right? Yeah, and so there's different aspects then,
yes.
I guess, of censorship.
Okay,
but,
fair.
Yeah, but in general, like anything that we talked about, out
right.
of it. Anything related to corporations, anything, you know.
Yeah.
Just the most minor stuff that everybody in culture agrees on, or you shouldn't be a citizen of this country.
Right.
Which is like the child stuff, right?
Stolen.
Okay.
All right. So love to see your comments below. See you next time.